Once upon a time, I was the poster boy for bad money management. I had no plan for my money. I racked up tens of thousands of dollars of debt. It got so bad that I eventually ended up declaring personal bankruptcy. And looking back, it's all so clear to me now that I was terrible at managing my money. Having a money management plan is one of the most important things you can do for yourself. I rank it up there with graduating high school and brushing your teeth. What do I mean by money management? I'm talking about how you handle all of your finances through budgeting, tracking your expenses, paying your bills, saving, and investing for your future, and setting goals for these things. Now that might sound like a lot to think about, and honestly, it is, which is why you need to have a plan for your money. Good money management is the difference between buying your own place to live or living in your mom's basement. Seriously though, good money management involves creating a plan and sticking to it, as well as knowing where your money is coming from and where it's going. So with that said, I'm going to give you my 7 steps for managing your money. I say steps because I want you to do these in order. This is my money management blueprint for you. Step 1, take inventory of your finances. If you've ever watched Marie Kondo do a room makeover, she starts by asking you to empty out all of your stuff, from your closets, your drawers, your cabinets. You dump everything out onto the floor, onto your bed, and this allows you to see what you need to organize. Well, in a similar fashion, to take inventory of your finances, get everything out. Bills, receipts, bank and credit card statements, everything. Put it all on the table, so to speak, because you need to know what you're dealing with. And then after you have your inventory, step 2, make a budget. In 2001, I'd been running my business and working overtime for several years, but I didn't have any progress to show for it. My business was profitable, but I wasn't building up any savings. I was still buying things on credit. The problem, as you might guess, is that I had no budget. I had no plan. I was just making stuff up as I went along. That got me into a lot of financial trouble. Don't make the same mistake I made. Create a budget. It doesn't need to be fancy right away. You can start with pencil and paper or make a spreadsheet. And once you have your budget, step 3 is to track your spending. Keeping track of what you spend is going to help you in 2 ways. First, you'll get an idea of where your money is going. Second, once you truly realize where your money is going, you might be inspired to stop spending so much in a certain category, or to adjust your spending habits so that they line up better with your needs and goals. And again, to track your spending, you can use pencil and paper or a spreadsheet, or there's many free and paid apps out there. I recommend starting with something that's free until you get a better idea of which features you might want in a budgeting and expense tracking program. Step 4 is to use dedicated accounts for spending and saving. This helps keep you organized, helps prevent you from dipping your toe into the emergency account for non-emergency needs, or using your long-term investments for short-term expenses. I recommend that you open the following 5 accounts. Account type 1 is a cash account, also known as checking account. This account is for paying bills, routine expenses like mortgage or rent, utilities, phone. Also use this account to pay off your credit card each month. The best way to keep this account funded, have your paycheck directly deposited into this account. Account type 2, credit card. Now this account's optional, but if you have it, you can use it for daily expenses. You might also be able to use it for paying recurring bills such as insurance premiums or utilities or your phone bill. However, don't do that if the vendor will charge you a transaction fee. In that case, use your cash account instead. And again, be sure to completely pay off your credit card balance in full each month. This is where keeping track of your spending really helps. Whenever I buy something with my credit card, I'll enter that purchase in my credit card ledger, but I'll also go over to my cash account ledger and subtract that amount off. So basically, I'm marking that money as used on my cash account. And as my credit card balance goes up during the month, my cash account balance is showing a decreased amount. This also makes it easy for me to pay off my credit card at the end of the month because I already have that money earmarked. I can simply make the transfer. And it helps prevent me from overspending. Account type 3 is emergency fund. You should have enough cash in this account to cover at least 6 months of your expenses. That's everything from mortgage or rent, utilities, car payment, phone, groceries, whatever you need to live off of. Account type 4 is an investment account. This is for long-term saving. So this account should have stocks, mutual funds, maybe some bonds. You probably don't want to have a whole lot of cash in this account because, again, it's for long-term savings. You want growth type investments in this account. Account type 5 is retirement account. It's also for long-term saving. It is tax advantaged. So the money inside your retirement account grows tax-free. You don't pay taxes on this money until you start withdrawing it, which is usually going to be later in life when you're retirement age. I'll cover long-term investing and retirement accounts in more detail in future videos. Step 5 is to set up your emergency fund. As you probably already know, life is not scripted. Life can and will be unpredictable. Your emergency fund will save you from having to use credit cards or tap into your long-term savings or ask family or friends for money. As I mentioned in step 4, your emergency fund is a separate account. It can be a savings account or interest-bearing checking or a money market. But having an emergency fund can turn an emergency into an inconvenience. I'll give you an example. My house had a solar hot water heater on the roof. Free hot water seemed like a good idea until one day it failed and I had boiling water pouring off my roof, flooding my yard. Long story short, that was an emergency repair that cost me about $4,000. I didn't have that much cash available. Well, no problem. I tapped into my emergency fund to buy a new hot water heater and to hire a plumber to install it. Because I had the emergency fund, my normal monthly budget was not interrupted. I was able to pay off my credit card in full that month, and I didn't miss any other bill due dates. After the hot water heater was installed, I started to deposit some money from each paycheck into my emergency fund until that missing $4,000 was restored. Always replenish your emergency fund after you withdraw from it. Step 6 is to pay off debt now and forever. One strategy to paying down debt is the snowball method. List all of your debts from smallest to largest, irregardless of the interest rate, and then continue to pay the minimum payments on all the debts, except for the smallest one. On the smallest debt, put as much money towards that as you can. Pay it off as fast as you can. Once your smallest debt is paid off, then move on to your next smallest debt and pay that one off as fast as you can. And rinse and repeat this process until all of your debts are paid off. Now, I personally would prefer to pay off my highest interest rate debt first. However, be careful if you're using this method because if your largest interest rate is also a large dollar amount, then it may not be as easy to notice progress as you pay it down. And that could make it difficult to stay motivated. So the advantage to the snowball method is that it may make it easier to stay motivated to get your debt paid off. I have a couple footnotes for paying down debt. If you have debt, then start your emergency fund with about $1,000. Then go to step 6, pay off all your debt. Once all of your debts are paid off, you're debt-free, then go back to step 5 to finish funding your emergency account. And then footnote 2 is just a caution to stay away from any schemes to pay off your debt quickly. If it sounds too good to be true, It probably is. If you're getting junk mail or phone calls from companies who want to charge you any fees to help pay down your debt, don't do it. Stay away. Step 7 is to save and invest for your future. Many people have little or no long-term savings for large purchases or for retirement. Retirement especially might seem like a long way off, but that time will come sooner than you think. It's never too late to start saving, and it's never too early to start saving. Start small if you have to, but something's better than nothing. So add some amount from each paycheck to your retirement account. One of the easiest ways to kickstart your retirement savings is to take advantage of your employer's retirement plans. For example, some employers will match your contributions up to a certain amount. If your employer does this, that is free money. Definitely do that. If your employer does not have a retirement plan, you can still open an IRA on your own, which stands for Individual Retirement Account. And then set a goal to invest at least 15 to 25% of your gross income into retirement savings. If you're not sure what to hold in your retirement account, I recommend buying shares of a mutual fund that tracks the S&P 500 index. Saving and investing for your future is so important, especially now we're currently in a period of high inflation, which makes everything more expensive. Historically, inflation runs about 2 to 3% each year. Everything is going to cost more in the future. So your money must be working for you in the long term. Think about it. 3 or 4% from a savings account or a CD will be wiped out by inflation. You need long-term growth investments like stocks or index funds. Ask yourself this question: what standard of living do I want to have in retirement? And then adjust your savings rate accordingly. And if you have children, you may want to save for their college fund. That's fine. Just make sure that your long-term savings is off to a good start first. And a tip when saving: consider opportunity cost. Before you buy something, consider both sides of the coin. For example, you're buying a new phone. Do you really need a new phone today? Or would the phone that you have now be okay for another 6 months or a year? What value does the purchased item give you versus the value that you could have if you invested that money for the long term? And I have one bonus step for you. Step 8, pay it forward. So once you have steps 1 through 7 going well, consider giving back. People who give report feeling happier, more content with life. They have a better quality of life. When you give, you become a more likable person, which creates a positive feedback loop. All right, so to wrap up, let's have a pop quiz. What is money management? Money management is how you handle all of your finances through budgeting, tracking your expenses, paying your bills, saving and investing for your future, and setting goals for these things. As I mentioned in my last video, to achieve financial freedom, you must be disciplined, consistent, and patient. The 7 steps I outlined in this video are simple to understand, but they are not necessarily easy to put in place. They may take significant time to complete. But that's okay. Slow and steady wins the money management race. Okay, if you found this video helpful or interesting, I would really appreciate a like, a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or thoughts, please leave a comment and I'll be happy to reply. And we'll talk again real soon. Thanks for watching.